Okay, so it's been a while. So very quickly, I'm going to make some latex molds of these three skulls. So this is from first principles, and I'm going to be just putting the first layer on right now. So these are three skulls that I've made before, all made from Herculite, and with different finishes, but none of that is important. So without further ado, we have our bowl of brush on latex here. Cheap paintbrush. So when you paint on latex, the first coat is to catch the details. So the first coat has to be very detailed, I guess. So just painting it on there. Nice and quick. In actual fact, I'm delighted I have an order for these three skull molds. So I told the guy they'd be a fortnight, which is about right. They'll each need about 20 coats of latex. And I reckon that'll take, some days I'll be able to get 3 coats on, depending on the drying conditions. Some days I'll be able to get 3 coats on, some days I'll be able to get 2 coats on. So maybe 30 coats of latex altogether. I'm not sure. I usually eyeball these things and I have an idea of how thick it is. These skulls, the skull molds are going to be used for concrete, so they need to be quite thick. Just get it all into the teeth. Use our brush, jab it in. Onto the head there. So just have a look. So the important places are under the cheekbones here. You don't go under there. You miss your latex. You miss your coat. Okay, so I'm going to do a flange around the skull as well real quickly. The first coat of the flange isn't important. It's just to more or less to fix the skull to the top of this board that I'm using. I'm going to put that around here. Yeah, of course I forgot my tripod, so it's going to be shaky as hell. Okay, that's our first coat on our first skull. So let me have a quick look. Yeah, I forgot a little bit at the back that needs to go on, and there's a little bit here that needs more. So the first coat doesn't need to dry completely. It needs to almost dry completely. So this will go from white to translucent. Then the minute that happens, you put the other coat, the next coat on, and the next coat, and the next coat. You don't really need the coats to dry. The first couple of coats don't necessarily need to dry, but they do need to. They need to be solid. Oh, it's kind of hard to explain. I should have done a script anyway. I do most of these things by eye. Okay, just leave it at that. In we go. What I'm trying to say is I wasn't going to do a video, you see, so I just decided now I'm doing something kind of half interesting. I might as well just film myself. This first coat will turn from white to translucent in about, again, it's not easy to say. The conditions, the temperature makes a difference. When it goes from white to a sort of an opaque colour, then it's good enough then for the next coat. We don't want to be putting on the next coat when the first coat hasn't dried at all, because what will happen then is it'll delaminate, it'll pull away. That's the worst thing. The worst thing that can happen with latex mold, when the coats pull away from the model, and then it's ruined. You have to pull it off. You can't stick it back down. It's ruined. I think people might say, "Oh, you can do this and do that." You can't. You have to just start again. So make sure it goes on. Make sure it stays on. And make sure it's fixed before you put on your next coat. Okay, so quickly, we'll get our first coat on here. It has to go into the detail, because the first couple of coats, if the details aren't covered with the latex, it won't turn out in your original, in your mold, because everything after the first couple of coats load bearing rather than detail. Okay, so just do the back of this now. And quickly, these are great brushes, of course, from Lidl. Where else? €5, I think, for a packet of them, various sizes. What we'll do when we're finished here tonight, I'm going to wrap them in plastic, and that's some latex in the runnery pot. I'm going to put that. I'm just going to put some plastic over the top of it, wrap the brush hair in latex, and it'll be good to go then tomorrow, or whenever I put the next coat on, which might be, it's 8 o'clock, so I'm hoping I'll be able to get another coat on tonight before I go to bed. So that is about 11ish, something like that. So we're starting very quickly on the third skull. Get the latex into the eye sockets. Now, this is actually, I've used this skull, the purple one, and this one here already. I've taken latex molds off them. So I know they won't delaminate. I know they're not too shiny for the latex to stick to. That can be a problem, for example, if you're using anything plastic. Latex might not stick to it. So make sure before you commit, make sure the latex isn't just going to peel off after a couple of hours. And it's time to start all over again if that happens. Okay, so we just get the latex in there. See, just between the teeth, what the dentists would call the gingival margins. In all of the gaps under the cheekbones. And when I'm putting on subsequent, I'm speaking from experience, when I'm putting on subsequent layers, under the cheekbones is an easy place to forget. Because we have a kind of, it's a high point under there, see, it's 3 centimeters. So it has to be, have to get the latex up into it. I don't sell many molds, but there's a guy, he's making an altar out of skulls, and he needs as many molds as he can get because it has to be finished. It's a big project for Halloween, which is 10 months away, something like that. However, he asked me for more molds, so I said I'll do them for him. That's what we do. Scary's rock art, we always aim to please. Okay. Patched up there. Skull should be. Let me just check. I don't think I missed any bits. So this is obviously indoors, so it's warm enough in this place. We're not too far from the radiator, so I think that this latex, this layer here will probably be ready for a second coat in a matter of hours. Maybe 3 hours, I'm not sure. Already, you can see just here, it's starting to change color. So when it goes like that, it's time then to lash on another coat. I'm just painting on the first bit of the flange here. This is the first. This flange is important because that's going to support the weight of the mold when it has its concrete or other material inside of it. So the flange has to be. Now you see already, this is my first. You can see it's very, very subtly starting to change color. It's not going to delaminate if I put a thin coat on over there. So basically I've already snuck on 2 coats. But I have to be careful. Don't put extra latex in where it has already pooled. If it's, see there, it's quite thick, and that's called pooling. If you start to throw on more latex before that has a chance to dry, there's a good chance it'll delaminate and pull away. And then, as I said, it's ruined. You have to start all over again. I can put on another coat here around for the flange. Now, this is unthickened latex, so for this part of it, when I put on subsequent, we're going to put on maybe 4 or 5 coats unthickened, and then I'm going to thicken the latex up, and we can use less. We'll be using less latex for a better result. And just put yeah, you see, even there, it's already, it must be just the right temperature in here for latex to dry. It's just starting to change colour slightly already. And this is great news. I mean, this really is, it cuts down dramatically the amount of time it takes to make these things. But again, you have to sort of know what you're doing. Nothing terrible will occur, but if the delaminates away from the main thing, it's ruined. It's time more than anything. Okay, so that's what we've got. We've got, okay, so that's the first coat is done. All right. As I say, it's about 8 o'clock. I anticipate I'll be able to throw another coat on by, say, 10 o'clock. Because I'm an old git, I probably go to bed earlier these days than I used to, so probably another coat, maybe 12 o'clock, something like that. Now, don't need to wash your brush. You can't wash brushes, latex infused brushes of water. Anyway, it'll just turn to clag. What you do is, of course, I haven't got it ready because I didn't know I was going to do this. So what can you say? You can use either. It's aluminium foil is good because the idea is you want to keep the air off the latex to stop it hardening on your brush. And once it hardens on the brush, you will never get it off. So look, it's in there, it's like that. I'm going to put the aluminium foil around it, like that. I'm going to do a reasonable seal, so the air won't get at my latex and harden it on the brush. Okay, so that's that. There's our 3 skulls. Got their first coat, and hopefully we'll be able to do another one later. I'll just show you what that actually looks like. Oh, here's one I made earlier. Made this, God, October, I think. That's a fine mould. I think it was 30 layers, something like that. It's thickened latex. I put on the latex thickener, so it's one of these. I think it's that one there. And that's what it looks like. The flange is large. I always make a big one, but you could always trim it down according to taste. It's certainly strong enough to hold the weight of the concrete or the material. But yeah, that's that. So these should look like this in a week or so. Okay, so that's it for this afternoon, and we'll talk to you later.